Okay, hey guys, so continued. After the audio test, the hearing test, he sends you to the briefing room for the medical. Before you get a medical, before you do anything, they give you a briefing about what's going to happen, what they're going to do, what to expect. Um, I had to wait because I was first for that too. So the first one in there, he says, you're going to go sit the far right corner with the purple pamphlets. That was the female side, and there was a male side. So I did that. The Navy gentleman, the Navy, I don't know what he is, so I'm calling them Navy gentlemen and personnel because I don't want to butcher anyone's rank or name. So the Navy gentleman told me to sit, and he said, "You're gonna write your name and your date. You're gonna write the date in military form, not civilian form." So on the board it was written. So you write the year first, the month and the day. He says, "I need you to tell everybody who comes in here the same instructions." And I was like, "Yes, sir." Um, so I did that. I told everyone the instructions. Um, and again, it's like every station I went to, people weren't listening. And I want to say, like, when I used to watch people's videos, I used to be like, people used to do what I'm doing. Like, oh my God, how could you not listen? And it's simple. I would be like, be humble. Like, why are you doing that? Like, you're not all that. You haven't even got in yet. But then, like, I realized, like, you sit through it and you realize and understand why they're doing that. Because it's like, come on now. Like, there's simple instructions. So I see where they're coming from. But anyway, so this is where more people weren't listening. Again, so people start filling up the room slowly. There's only 4 girls, more guys, but they start filling up the room. And as each one's coming in, I'm just turning around. Hey, excuse me, the Navy personnel told me to inform you guys that when you write the date, it has to be like the example on the board: year first, then the month, and the date. And they all said okay, and they basically acknowledged it. Said okay. Um, the recruiter had handed me a pencil, but there was a box on the file cabinet that had pens and pencils. And they were saying, "Where are the pencils?" So I pointed to the box. They're like, "They're up there." I mean, they're right next to each other, but pens and pencils. For some weird reason, 3 people grabbed pens instead of writing in pen. Like, I didn't know that until after the gentleman came in. So after a while, as the room was filling up, the Navy personnel came in. He was checking people's papers. Good, 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 good. He came to like 2 people who wrote the date wrong. They wrote it in the civilian way. Mind you, I told them this is what you're told to do, and they acknowledged me. They said yes, okay, thank you, and they still wrote it the way they wanted to write it. And the Navy dude was like, "Do you not follow directions? That's not how I asked you to write it." And so they had to erase it and rewrite it. Now for the people who wrote in pen, he walked around, and this is what he said. He said, "You motherfuckers," to the 3 gentlemen that wrote pen. And he snatched the paper and he crinkled it. He said, "Welcome to the military," and threw it away. He was like, "You guys, you graduated grade school, right?" And everyone said yes. He said, "Okay, do you ever, when you doing taking a test or you filling out a scantron, do you ever write in pen?" And they said no. And he said, "Class," he's like, "Class, what do you write on scantron with?" And everyone's like, "Pencil." Like, that's how embarrassing it is when you don't listen, because they do that to humiliate you. And so he gave him another scantron, which was happy. I thought that he was gonna kick him out for a minute, and they just redid everything. And I don't want to make this part too long because it took forever. Mind you, I had to pee really bad because I'm the kind of person that when I'm nervous or when I'm told to pee on spot, like for anything, I cannot pee on spot. Like, I've done drug tests before for jobs or when I'm at doctor's appointments. Like, I can't pee on demand. It's really hard for me. So I had to pee a little bit when we first got to MEPS. Mind you that we got there around 6:15 ish, and when we were in the briefing room for medical, it was 7:30. So that's when I first started having to pee, but I was like, I'm not gonna pee now. It was like a 45-minute wait. Before the room had to be filled up before the guy could talk about the briefing for the medical. So I was the first one done with the hearing and the vision. So I sat there longer than most people, but as it filled up, people started going to the bathroom, and I had to go a little bit, but I was like, I don't want to do it because I'm going to screw myself and not be able to pee. Also, while you're in the briefing room, they're gonna come and check your ears to make sure they can see your eardrum. Mine was fine, and they're gonna check your blood pressure. There was a couple of people who I guess had too much wax in their ears, so they made them, which was I'm really happy because I heard that like sometimes they have to come back another day or they have to go like in another like they have to leave the MEPS office and go to a whole another building to get it done. But the Navy gentleman brought another doctor. He told the 3 people to stand up and said, or 2 or 3 people to stand up and said, "Come with me." So they had to put drops in their ears. They had to leave the cotton in their ear, and then they had to like, I guess, check their ears later. but I was happy for them that they could do it the same day in the same place. So they went to do that. My blood pressure was good. It was like 116 over 79. The normal range is usually 120 to 80, and then like my pulse rate was 80, and regular pulse rate from 60 to 100 beats per minute. So I was good for all that. This one poor gentleman had really high blood pressure. They took his blood pressure twice, and it was pretty high. They kept saying it was really high. I think he had asthma though, and he disclosed that. So they had to write something because his blood pressure was high. They had to disclose that. Um, and so the recruiter was like, you may or may not get disqualified temporarily. Whatever. He let him sit through the briefing and everything. But come to think of it, I didn't see that gentleman again. I didn't see him again after we left the briefing. But anyway, so back to the briefing. So he basically puts on this slideshow, and it's just directions on what you're gonna do, how you're gonna fill out paperwork. You have to fill out paperwork throughout the day. You're gonna have to confirm who you are. So they're gonna say, is this your social security number? Is this your name? And you're gonna initial a lot of places. You're gonna answer yes or no. So it's a lot of that. And then it gets to the drug test. Not the drug test, but like in briefing where you have to sign to give them permission to do your blood and urine. He was like, these regular spiel, if you've done any drugs in the last 48 hours, it's going to show up. We're going to send the thing to Chicago. They're going to check it. He's like, it's not a Walmart test where they just dip it and check for like marijuana. Like, they're going to check for everything. I forgot how many different drugs they test for. And he was like, I'm being nice and letting you know now. If you guys have done any drugs in the last 48 hours, I think it was 48 or 72, I'm not sure. But basically, if you've done drugs recently, don't take the test, because what you're going to do is you're going to be put on hold, and you're going to have to come back. I don't know how long, but it could be up to 3, 4, 6 months before you can come again if you fail it, or you can be permanently like banned from joining the military in general. So I wouldn't risk it. He was like, if you decline to take your drug test today, all we're going to do is ask you to leave the floor. Your recruiter's going to be pissed off, but at least you'll be able to join when you come back, when you feel like everything's out of your system. So 2 people got up and said thank you and walked out. And I'm like, in my head, why would you even show up if you know you've done drugs recently? Like, maybe they just weren't educated and didn't know. I don't get it. I don't care. That was them. So that was a delay in their process. So we continued. We signed. You guys, this is what I'm talking about, where it's like, this is what your recruiter's telling you. When it got to there's another medical questionnaire form, and it basically is what you filled out with your recruiter, a little packet they give you. Not as many like questions, but a good amount. I want to say 30. And they ask you questions. Have you ever had this? Do you have this? Do you have a hearing problem? Do you have a knee problem? All this other stuff. Have you ever been hospitalized? And heck of people put they were hospitalized. Raising your hand, excuse me. I was hospitalized when I was 6. Does that still count? Mind you, the guy said, if you've ever been hospitalized from birth till now, and they're like, oh, I hospitalized when I was like 6 or when I was 3, does that still count? Or they'll be like, I was hospitalized, I don't remember who my doctor was, and I'm just feeling really bad for them because, again, this is a disclaimer, by the way. I am not telling anyone to lie about anything. That's my disclaimer. So don't put this on me. I am not telling you to lie. I didn't lie about anything. I am healthy. Nothing's wrong with me. I'm not worried about anything. Like, nothing to hide. But for people who do and have something to hide, this is where your recruiter is like, and the recruiter kept telling me, he's like, I know you don't have anything to hide. I'm just letting you know that they're going to get in your head. They're going to, tell you you can go to jail and this and that, but don't say anything to them that you didn't say to me. Which is fine for me because I don't have anything wrong with me. But for everybody else, I felt bad for them. Like, you're telling on yourself for like little stuff that doesn't matter, but they're trying to DQ people. They're trying to like weed out the weaklings, as they like to say. So they're gonna try to DQ for any little thing, and I feel bad because people are like, yeah, I broke my arm when I was 6. And excuse me, I'm sorry, heartburn. Let's be real. Like, I mean, if you broke your arm when you were 6, I mean, unless it's like it hurts you here and there, like it still is painful, or you're not able to use it to your full mobility, that's different. But like, that is something they cannot legally, unless you give them written consent to, they cannot pull your civilian record. They cannot pull your records for any reason. They can't. That's a HIPAA violation. So like, they wouldn't know about that. And I'm surprised a recruiter, like, I think honestly it's one of those things where like they told the recruiter, okay, I'm not gonna say it, and they just freaked out because the recruiter, I mean the people there, the Navy personnel that was like in the room with us, repeated several times like, and they said this, they said verbatim, we know how it works. We know your recruiters need numbers. So we know your recruiter told you not to disclose certain information. However, if you don't disclose this medical information to us and it comes to our attention later on, you can get in trouble for fraudulent enlistment or dishonorable discharge, depending on where you're at in your military career and whatever. If something happens to you out in basic training and you need to go to sick call, and we find out that you had some medical issues, that's fraudulent enlistment or that's dishonorable discharge. Your school, like everything that is getting paid for, is you're risking that. Um, I think people just freaked out at that point. But no, they can't pull anything unless they don't know anything that you don't tell them. I'm not saying to lie at all. I'm just letting you know what I was told, what I know, because um, I mean, I've done a couple medical classes with EMT, like I'm an EMT, like all that stuff. So like, I felt bad because it was little stuff, big stuff. Yes, you need to disclose. If you have a heart condition, if you pass out frequently, if you have high, low blood pressure, you that I would disclose 150%, and you should disclose. I'm not telling you lies, so I'm gonna say you should disclose everything. I'm just letting you know that they can't find out stuff unless it's from the test they're doing. I mean, if they draw blood or urine and they find something, that's different. But I'm talking about stuff that, like, there's certain stuff they don't know unless you tell them. And the big stuff, yes, of course. I don't know why you would want to join if you have a heart problem or have always, or was trying to join and you know you have asthma and you're always having an asthma attack. That stuff is stupid. You need to just be honest because you can die out there for, like, serious shit like that. So, yeah, but, like, these kids are, like, and I felt bad. So, like, I knew once they got to the medical interview with their little doctor that they were screwed. Because, like, whatever. So, anyways, my roommate that I had at the hotel was sitting behind me. And she was like, oh, I went to the hospital. I don't remember what day it was or who my doctor was. So, I heard her say that because I was sitting in front of her. And I was just felt so bad for, like, why would you do that? But, anyways, well, I didn't know what her condition was or what happened. So, whatever. For me, I only had to put down, because there was a question that says, were you ever hospitalized? I had to put yes for my children, because I gave birth. And that's already on record, because I have to have a dependency waiver. So they knew I gave birth, so it would be stupid for me to say, no, I've never been hospitalized when I given birth. They're going to be like, what, did you give birth at home and never went to the hospital? So, yeah, I wrote that down. So all I did was write, and you have to write, you fill in yes, and then there's an explanation box, and you write the number you're explaining and why. I said yes, forgot what number it was. I said childbirth. I put the 3 years that I was in there for my children, and then the cities, and then the hospital I gave birth in. So that was that, and that's fine, because I already knew that. So, I'm sorry, I'm gonna stop the video, and I'm gonna go on to the next video, because, again, it's gonna be so frustrating if I'm talking for, like, 20 to 30 minutes, and it doesn't let me upload it. That's gonna be a waste. So, I love you guys. Just click on the next video. It's gonna take 2 seconds. Just do it. Love you. See you in a second.